Hello, it's Lo from Framed in Green, and I am doing the second video for my Me Making It challenge. Today's challenge is childhood crafts, but elevated, a glow-up version. Basically, you're supposed to show how you've grown up. You're supposed to show how you've grown from starting crafting as a child to crafting as an adult. I have two crafts today, both using popsicle sticks. There is an epic fail in the middle of it all. It's just a disaster. It's just a longer video, so I'm just gonna cut this short and get into it.
To begin, I just took popsicle sticks and I laid them out into these diamond shapes until I got a 7-point star, which is the shape that I sort of had in mind to do a wreath with. Obviously, the next step is to secure all of these pieces together with glue. Initially, I used the wood glue only because it was easy to maneuver my pieces if I needed to resize them in any way. If you don't have wood glue, hot glue is just fine. I end up using that later on, so that will work for this portion as well. With the first layer done, I am starting to add a second layer of popsicle sticks using the same technique as before. Just be sure that you are kind of doing them opposites, so when you see the two popsicle sticks on top of that one below them, make sure you're putting the next layer on the two that are on top. Once the second layer is done, it's on to the third. Again, you'll be repeating the last process of layering the popsicle sticks on top of each other. At this point, I am gluing the second to last layer onto all of the diamonds. So this will be the fourth layer of popsicle sticks. Yay! We got all of the layers of the diamonds done. So now I am mixing my paint because I am going to be painting a few loose popsicle sticks, and then I am going to be painting each individual diamond. For the loose popsicle sticks, I am painting 4 in each color, and then I will just set those aside to dry because I will be using them a little bit later on. Pro tip, give yourself enough space to dry so you don't contaminate. Now that the loose popsicles are all painted, it's time to move on to each individual diamond. I just painted them in each of the colors that I had. All the individual diamonds have been painted. So now I'm going to attach all of these pieces together. And here's where I make my first big mistake. In case you missed what I did right there, I grabbed two colors and flipped them over at the same time, thus reversing the color order, which is not what I wanted to do. So just be sure to flip the diamonds over one at a time before you glue them so that you keep the colors in the order that you want. Okay, so back to the project. I was just gluing all of the diamonds together using hot glue and bits of smaller popsicle sticks that I had cut in half just to make the back of it a little bit more secure. We are finally in the home stretch for this project. Now that all of the diamond shapes are glued together, this will be the second to last step. I am just taking this pom-pom trim and I am hot gluing it with the pom-pom side out to the edges of all of the diamonds. This was probably my favorite part of the project. It's just so satisfying and so relaxing. So just bear with me while I make you watch it all. Here it is with all of the pom-pom trim glued on. And finally, the last step is to take those loose popsicle sticks that we painted earlier, and we are just going to use that same layering technique to cover the pom-pom trim around all of the diamonds. Here is the nearly finished result. I will reveal it completely at the end of the video, but this was our first popsicle project. Okay, I really debated on even showing you this because I feel like it was a giant waste of my time, and I don't want it to be a giant waste of your time. But we all make mistakes, so I decided to include it in the video, hopefully just really quick. What I was trying to do was make a sunburst frame, and I had trimmed all of these larger popsicle sticks down, and then I was carefully measuring these smaller ones to attach to the larger one because I was trying to get it to look really uniform, but it started falling apart right about here. Once I had spent about, maybe close to 2 hours making all of these popsicle stick burst things, I decided to glue them onto my frame. I thought that using wood glue and hot glue would make it a really strong bond, but what ended up happening was because the hot glue was drying so fast and the wood glue stays wet for a long time, it just wasn't even gluing. So I ended up wiping all of the wood glue off and then just going straight for hot gluing all of these pieces down. And as you can see, I pretty much got all of these pieces glued to this frame. And it was about when I was getting the last popsicle stick on there that I turned this over and I realized I hated it. So here's the giant pile that I ripped off the frame. I didn't really have a backup plan, but I just started messing around with the popsicle sticks and I just came up with this shape, and so that's how this next project was sort of born. Hopefully you can tell what it's supposed to be. A llama. My daughter told me it looked like a donkey, but I thought it was cute, so I just started gluing all of the pieces together. And here he is, all in one piece. Using the same concept from earlier, I'm just kind of layering the popsicle sticks on him so that he's just a little bit more sturdy. And this whole time I'm just slightly ignoring that giant mess to the left of me. Didn't even want to think about it. On a positive note, here's the llama done and painted. The next portion of the video is completely optional. I just painted a frame and attached chicken wire to the back of it off camera because my signature is sort of repurposing frames, and that was my intention for this video. I wanted to repurpose that circular frame and turn it into a sunburst one, but since that did not work out for me, which happens, I just decided to kind of improvise, and this is the direction it ended up going. But I'm glad it did, because this is more unique.